I was self-doubting myself a lot.
Subtle mindset shifts can make a massive difference.
One step at a time.
I'm a little bit stressed if I don't get that in.
A lot of us go through that.
The belief in yourself is absolutely critical.
Welcome to the Stellar Talk Show. It's your platform powered by Experts Insights.
Hi, and I'm your host, Stella Ram. Today we are joining with Sandy McKay, who's a true inspiration to speak to, from renting to a real estate mogul and the founder of MRN Realty Network. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Stella. Excited to be here.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you, Sandy, for taking your time today. Today we're going to talk about mindset and goal settings. Before we dive deep, can you tell us a little bit about your journey and where it all started?
For sure. I've been in real estate world for a dozen years. So my only other career was as a golf pro, which I did for a few years. I lived overseas and did that, and then came back into Canada, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but real estate always kind of was a intriguing industry to be in. Mm-hmm. And when I met my now wife, we both got kind of intrigued at the same time, and we really were interested in the investment side of real estate. We read a book at the same time, Rich Dad Poor Dad, which inspired us to look at life a little different, look at the world a little different, and especially how we go about making a living a little bit differently.
Yes.
And we decided that we were going to, be entrepreneurial or entrepreneurs, and probably, in hindsight, looking back, probably didn't. We knew it wasn't going to be easy, but it is definitely a lot of challenges along the way, but ultimately an incredible adventure. So many things you can learn, running businesses. And so over the last 12 years, we've gone from creatively investing in real estate. So we used to do a lot of wholesaling real estate, finding off-market and undervalued properties. And then we started finding ways to raise money to buy properties and buy more and more properties. We bought, over the last 12 years, about 75-ish properties that we've purchased, not including some of the flips that we've done over the years as well.
Yeah.
And so we've built up a good portfolio in that. We also started, I got my license, of course, started the real estate agent side of things, built a team business, started a property management company, and then started our brokerage as well 4 years ago, and started growing that. So we've done, mixed into all that, we've probably started another six, seven companies that didn't work out, and for various reasons, but we've dabbled into some other side hustle companies as well. And so it's been a good adventure, learned a lot, and thankfully still here standing and having fun.
Amazing. I heard a lot of things in there. It's truly inspiring to see that how you kept going and building your mindset. So can you share some pivoted moments in that journey that has shaped your mindset today?
Usually, I would say most of our big changes in our mindset, and usually it's been a mindset adjustment.
Yes.
Usually it's been something that I would consider myself a lifelong learner. I love learning. Although I got a little bit sick in school in the more formal learning environments, but I realize now I can learn so much more just on my own and being a self-learner.
Yes.
And I really find that subtle mindset shifts can make a massive difference in our life. And most of the things that I've learned, I've caught them at the right time. It's not that I hadn't heard that before, but as I'm growing in my experience and seeing things differently, all of a sudden I can hear something one day and it doesn't stick, but then I hear it a year later and I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense now.
Yes.
And most of my learnings like that have been not necessarily mind-blowing lessons that you or others might not have learned before, but it's just been because I've been trying to constantly grow and develop myself and have that mindset of growth and seeking growth and not being scared of failure and actually embracing failure.
That's a big one.
Yeah, I think that's been one of my biggest lessons is as you go through more and more failure, which is inevitable as an entrepreneur, you're going to either go one of two ways. You're going to decide that that's a good thing and you're going to learn from it and keep growing, or you're going to get scared and run away the other way and maybe give up. And I might have done that if it weren't for my wife. My wife many times has kept me going.
She pulled you
in some
back
ways.
to where you should be.
Maybe I've done that for her a couple times, I don't know, but I just never wanted to live with the regret of doing that and then spending 50 years of life regretting it. So I realize now every little failure is just another way not to get to where I want to go, but I'm going to find the way to get to where I want to go eventually.
That's true. That's true. That's amazing that what you said. That brings me to ask, like, you mentioned that you started a few businesses that, that you stopped in the main run, but you also started a business that is really growing and successful at today's market, right? So what are some of, you mentioned that every failure gave you that stepping stone to the next success story. What is the mindset that you cultivated to keep going to see that success and not giving up when you saw that setback or when you didn't see the results come right away?
And this wasn't always the case, but nowadays I spend hardly any time, hopefully zero time, not even a second, worrying about why it didn't work. Or I want to take the lesson from it, but I don't want to spend any time sitting there in like a negative mindset around, oh my gosh, I feel like a loser. I can't believe I couldn't make it happen. I used to have that mentality at some points, and I've gotten rid of that completely, because now all I look at it is there's a lesson here. Let's find the lesson. Let's bring that to the next phase and learn from it, and maybe not do what I did wrong again, but let's learn. And I just am always looking for the lessons rather than looking for the reasons
why it happened. Yeah. And also, like, I would say, when something happened, rather than focusing on why it happened, just to focus it back into yourself to see, hey, what do I have to do next time to improve and maybe get to that success goal?
So another good point is taking responsibility for it.
Exactly.
People who get things in this life, or people that take responsibility. Actually, I want to take responsibility for it as much as I possibly can. Even things that in my world, if I have people that are working with me in a teamwork environment, there's probably lots of things that someone else does that most people could look at and say, that's not your fault, Sandy. Why are you taking credit for taking responsibility for it? And I want to say, like, when you take responsibility for something, you take over ownership and you can do something about it. But if you, like a lot of the world, decide that they don't want to take responsibility for something, then you have no control over fixing it or the next outcome. And you're basically playing the victimhood mindset, which, not that I don't ever play that here and there, but that doesn't end well.
But you just have to have that mindset to overcome that and look forward to the next one. Yeah, that's completely true. I want to talk about, like, we have seen a lot of mentors that we work towards through our life, and we also have seen like a lot of influential role models. What are their role in your journey? Like, is anybody that particular that you look up to or learn from?
I have a lot of mentors for sure that probably don't know that even who I am. That's the beauty of 2025 now in this world, is you can access information so easily. Great podcasts, great YouTube channels, all these different things that you can access information and learn. But I've had also a few people that in my life where I've a couple of people that I purposefully got in their world because I knew that hanging around that person was going to rub off on me and make me a better person. And I've done that, I think, pretty proactively for the last 10 years in real estate, especially. I've realized that I don't know everything, that's for sure, but a lot of people that have been around longer than me know a lot of things that I don't know. And if I can find the right people there that I can are doing things that I want to do, the best way to get what they have or have what they have is to go understand who they are. Who is that? Because you never get anything without first becoming the person that can do the work to earn those things.
That's true.
But if you get around the people that already have those things, you start to realize who they are, what they're all about, and what they're doing on a daily basis in order to achieve whatever they're achieving. And I had one early mentor. I joined a team when I first got into real estate. So on that team, I was working day in and day out with someone I really respected and was doing a lot of really cool investment stuff at the time, raising a whole bunch of money to buy a lot of real estate, buying all these apartment buildings. And at the time, I thought this was like mind-blowing stuff what he was doing. And it was only a couple of years that went by before I was doing the exact same things that he was doing. I was like, and I thought back after like a couple of years, I was like, wow, I could never have imagined that I would have got here this fast in like 2 years.
Wow.
And I probably wouldn't have if I didn't go hang around that person and just be in the environment that they were doing every day. And I just soak up the knowledge, and eventually what I thought was impossible became super possible. And so I think just getting in the right environment is really, really important.
Yes, your circle of influence, right? I think like a lot of just to talk about the young generation that who wants to cultivate that mindset and to have that wealth building and have the best life that they want to achieve in the future. Surrounding yourself with the people that who can influence that mindset and influence that lifestyle definitely matters, right? Because the moment that you surround with them, you actually get to brainstorm, see what they do and what works and what not. It's not what I'm saying is to follow the shiny object syndrome, but you can learn from each other and choose what's best for you to improve your one thing and be who you are, right?
Yeah, and I've also had a coach for over 12 years, I guess now, actually. A coach of some sort, a business coach, real estate business coach. I've had various forms of coaching and in the business world. And I think coaches are really important to help you see what you can't see in certain situations.
Yes.
And there's a lot of value in that, having someone they're not in the day-to-day with you, they're a little bit removed, and they can shed some insight that might be really helpful at times. So coaches and mentors both extremely important, but for someone that's younger looking to get into business world or something, the best thing anyone can do is go find the person that has what you have already, or is like the person that you want to be in the years to come.
Yes.
And just find a way to get in their world, whether you have to pay to get in there or go do stuff for them that is free or it doesn't cost them anything. Just you got to add value to them, and they're going to want you around.
That's true.
And if you can find ways to add value to those people in your life, you are not only going to be their best friend, and they're going to want to pour into you and help you, but you'll see over time that'll compound more and more, and you can get everything you want.
That's true. That's true. I want to also talk about when I talk to a lot of people, even for the young generation. I have my nephews and my niece and everybody who's looking to have a big life. Some of the things that we hear from them is, I'm trying to do this, but this happens. So I don't know how to overcome that. So I just I tell them, the consistency, and you have to be focused on what you want to achieve, even though whatever the obstacles you have. So I want to ask you, Sandy, what are some of the habits and routines that has been instrumental for your mindset to be consistent?
I've had to grow into this too. This has taken a long time to even learn what fits for me and what the habits are, because there's not a one size fits all.
That's true.
I think there's different things for different people. Different people have different flaws and different things they need to work on, or different traits that are great. But for me, I'm a big believer in habits, and I've realized that everything compounds, right? Everything, whether it's money and you're investing $1 a day, that starts to compound over time. Same thing with habits. Same thing with if you were reading 10 pages of books every day, that it's not 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. It actually starts to compound. It goes that knowledge builds on itself. And all of a sudden, you'll wake up in a year, 2 years time after doing something consistent like that, and you'll look around and you'll go, wow, I feel like I'm a lot ahead of people that are not doing that same habit. So I'm a big creature of habit, especially in the mornings. I love my morning routine.
Oh, I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, I do that. I'm not gonna lie and say I do that every day. I do it 95% of every day, which is, and I tweak it here and there, but generally it's a form of physical exercise. I start out with journaling, gratitude, prayer habits, sometimes some form of meditation, and then reading or listening to something that's gonna tweak my creativity, and that's the most of it right there. But if you're to do anything of those, it's hard to do all that all of a sudden. But I've built that over time. One
step at a time, like one habit, and then you make sure that you get into routine with that, and then add another.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And then I'm a little bit stressed if I don't get that in, because every day, this is what I've realized too in the last few years especially, is that every single day is a resetting of your energy, your life, your mood, everything. And you never know what day you're going to come across the most incredible opportunity that you could have ever imagined. We have no idea. That could be right now, that could be for us, that could be tonight, that could this podcast. We have no idea. We're creating content that could go to someone that sees it and says something amazing could happen from it. You just never know. And so you have to go into every day being I'm preparing for that moment. because it might come today.
Yes.
And if you fail to prepare for that, then you might miss it. And that might have been that butt that someone has a challenge with. That might have just because they weren't prepared that day.
That's true. Every day is a new opportunity. That's definitely true. So I need to ask, like when you're trying new things, Sandy, right? Like, you try different, like it can be sports or it can be like business ventures. We probably would have come across self-doubt or like the imposter syndrome. A lot of us go through that, right? Like, even when I, was starting the podcast, like I was self-doubting myself a lot, right? What are some things that you did or that you were practicing in yourself to overcome the imposter syndrome?
I think the habits have really helped me with that, having a regular routine, because the belief in yourself is absolutely critical.
Yes.
If you don't believe in yourself, why would anybody else believe in you? The thing with believing in ourselves is that we are the only people, unless you believe in God or higher spirit, we're the only people, physical people on earth that get to see what we do every day, all the time. Nobody else sees everything we do, right? So when you get to live and you see everything you do, if you're regularly saying you're going to do something and not doing it, you get to see that every day. And if you're not following through for yourself, you're going to you're not going to believe in yourself. But if you tell yourself, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow and go to the gym, and you do it, you just built a little bit of extra self-belief. If you didn't do it, you just cut yourself out of the legs, and you just built, now you're going backwards. But if you start to build those habits and you do things you say you're going to do to yourself, and you do those regularly, your belief in yourself is inevitably going to grow and compound.
Yes.
And any aspect of your life, I've noticed, is like that.
Wow.
If you want to be a better, speaker or something like that in front of a stage, which is a very nerve-wracking thing for people.
Yes.
It doesn't tie in directly, but for the last year, if you've been telling yourself, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. and you haven't done it once, or you've only done it like a handful of times, you're going to stand up on stage and be like, I don't believe in myself very much because I'm not following through. I don't have that habit of following through. But if you've got up, and even the day when you woke up and said, I'm so tired today, I don't feel like I want to do it, but you did it anyways, then you're going to stand in front of the room and be like, I know I can handle anything.
Yes.
Because I've done it day in, day out.
You win yourself,
and I've won those little battles.
That's true.
And those compound, like everything.
Everything compounds, yes.
And then you can build so much confidence. It doesn't happen overnight, but over time, that self-belief and confidence builds. And doing anything like that for a couple of years, you can transform yourself completely.
Amazing. That's very inspiring.
I'm a really, really, really shy person. When I was a kid, extremely shy.
Wow.
I would ask my mom to go talk to everyone on my behalf because I was I was the quietest, most shyest kid ever.
Really?
And I'm not necessarily like the loudest person in the room nowadays, but I have no problem going and standing up in front of any big audience or anything like that. I might still have a slight bit of nerves, but I know I can do it.
Yes.
And I think the biggest part in that is just doing things constantly over time and building that belief.
Believing in yourself.
Yeah.
Right, that's true.
It's like everything, it's not going to come from anyone else.
Yeah, it has to come within you. And you need to build that. You need to work on yourself to build your self-confidence. That's true. And I'll be honest with you, I'm working on that myself right now, building that self-confidence. Like, I'm not good at public speaking. This is one of the challenges I have taken to build that confidence. So, it's one step at a time, as you said.
Well, so saying you're going to do a podcast and then doing it, and putting it out there, that's going to be a big win over time.
Big win. Yeah, I appreciate that. And Sandy, I want to ask, a lot of people that in my journey too, when we do like a lot of challenges we take on, I want to do this. Sometimes we put all our efforts in. We try 100%, but the results that we're expecting, it doesn't happen overnight, or it may not come on the timeline that we would like to expect that to happen. So, I'm pretty sure that you probably would have had examples like that in your journey as well. So can you share one story and tell us what you did to keep that mindset to keep going? Yeah.
So first of all, I realized in my life, I am someone who likes to get stuff done rather quick, and if it's not done, I tend to get a little bored, which is kind of typical entrepreneurial sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I realized that every single thing that's worth, there's a couple things. Every single thing that's worth anything in life is never going to happen like that. Everything takes some time. anything that's worth it takes some time. There's a reason it takes 9 months to have a baby, right? It doesn't happen just like that.
Yes.
If it just happened like that, we probably wouldn't appreciate them as much.
That's true. That's true.
So anything worth fighting for, worth going for, and that's something that is going to have a great outcome at the end, it's going to take some time. So you kind of have to understand that reality. But then also, you have to, one of the big things I see people doing, younger business people especially, is they're not understanding why they're doing things. They're doing it for money. And money is not exciting enough. Money, if you're starting a business, for example, if you're expecting anything to come into your pocket for the first couple of years, it's nice when it comes, but it's a bit of a bonus. It takes 2 years to get consistency, and sometimes to make any money. And so if you're in it for money, it's very difficult to stay in it for 2 years and not have any money come in. That's a long time if you're expecting money or needing money.
Yes.
So, but if you're not doing it for money, and money is just like a nice add-on, but you're doing it because you have a powerful reason or mission or purpose, and it's well defined, and you understand, I'm doing this because whatever the reason is, it could be something relating to a cause that you're really passionate about. It could be because you want to be the real example for your kids, and you want to, every day that you show up, you're doing it so they see you show up, and you want to inspire them. Then it's not about the money, right? The money is a cherry on top.
Yes.
But that drive and that motivation of seeing your child look at you with that adoration every day.
Yes.
That is going to drive you for 2 years before you make the money.
That is true. That is true. Yeah.
Spending time and understanding the why is one of the most critical things up front for anything in life.
Yeah. So that's what they say, like when the why is clear, the how becomes easy.
Yeah.
Right. That's one of the mottos that I try to follow too, because when you have a clear vision of what you want to achieve and why that achievement is very important, then how you're going to get there becomes seamless. Yeah, most definitely.
And usually the why is like is other people of some sort, or maybe something like a religious belief or something. Usually those are the most powerful ones.
Most powerful ones, yeah.
Usually
especially
it's not about you.
Yeah, it's definitely like when it comes to humans, we all want to be very caring and giving, right, rather than taking. So you're absolutely right. It's always about the why is mostly about maybe your family, your kids, or something that's higher up. Yeah, most definitely. May I ask you to share one of the biggest challenges that you have come across in your journey, and what has given you that empowerment or the mindset to overcome and become who you are? Yeah.
So actually, over 10 years ago, we started a podcast. Myself and a partner. This is actually, and that was a good example for before too. That podcast took us over 2 years to get traction.
Oh wow! Okay.
To get real traction on it. But I had no intention of making anything out of it, like personally. I just did it to share good information.
Yes.
And so it was always benefited. I've had so many challenges now. It's crazy to pick out even a handful of them. Usually some of the, we've had a lot of, early on we had a lot of challenges around trying to find resources or money to buy a property, for example. And one of the bonuses is early on we started our kind of investment and entrepreneurial careers with basically no money, and except for some credit cards, I guess.
Yes.
But because we had no money there, we had to find ways to get creative and really think outside the box. And so, for example, like we found a way. Our first property that we bought, we're probably a little more risk takers than most people, but we just found ways to find. At that time, it was only 5% down, which you can still do today. But the price point was $267,000. So
okay,
25 grand or so that we needed
to put down.
We found a way to scrounge that money together because we had found off-market properties and we had wholesaled them to other investor people that we knew, which that in itself. Finding off-market properties like that took a lot of time and effort to find those.
Yes.
But we found a way to do that. It's a long story to how we did that. But getting into that first property was like every single step was so challenging. And I remember we had a condition in there at the time, which, first property, now I'm not as concerned about personally with my own properties, putting conditions and stuff in. But at the time, we were so worried about the financing because it was very unknown if we were going to get it or not.
It's your first time doing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the mortgage broker we were working with originally, it was the day before, like, waiving our conditions, or the day of, and the financing didn't come in for like a silly reason, it seemed at the time, but basically they denied our financing. And we were kind of stuck with a decision there at that point to like just cancel the deal or not. I liked the property a lot at the time.
Yeah.
My wife and I both did. And this mortgage broker had been working with us for like 3 months. So like we were kind of shocked that they
We're not able to get it
and they were
done.
a very reputable mortgage person. I was like, I'm so confused why they can't figure this out. They told us this was going to work the whole time.
Yeah.
And at that moment, we could have said, I guess like maybe this real estate stuff sucks, or this is harder than we thought, or I knew we didn't have money, so that maybe we were not meant to be this because we're not homeowners or whatever. But then, like, we found a way to get the realtor on the side on this deal, the realtors to extend us a couple days. We found another mortgage broker. That mortgage broker was like, I would say a little more maybe aggressive, or found ways to get this thing done. And we did a few more deals with them afterwards too. But financing in itself, like financing, I've been through so many financing situations now where one person can't figure it out, and then the next person is like, what do you mean? It's done.
Done.
And they figure it out. And you're like, what the heck? How could that other person who is also reputable?
Was not able to do it. Yeah.
And I just think there's so many things like that have happened in my career where like one path didn't work, and you have the choice now to say, do I give up, or do I just find another way? And sometimes you have to find like go down 10 different holes or 20 different holes to find out the one that is open and makes sense.
Yes.
But I think if you really want something enough, and you know the why behind it, you know why you're doing it. That's where that why comes into play again, where you just find a way to do it, and the inspiration and the motivation, and you ask one more question, or you ask one more person, or you bring in one more perspective, and there's always a way to get stuff done. There's always a way in this life, always.
Yeah, no, that's actually very inspiring. If you would have stopped and said, okay, this is not for us, then went back into being.
This is our very first deal. Yeah, that could have been nothing. Could have from there. We could have just given up everything.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's your foundation there. Then that you built on in your career. And right now, like, I know that you are big on investing in real estate. You have multiple properties, and you're investing overseas as well, right?
Yeah, we're doing this right now. We're buying some properties in the U.S. and even same thing in the U.S. Like we've had a lot of little mini hurdles coming up around different projects and stuff. I know we're going to find the way through it. At this point, I just know there's a million ways we're going to do it. I'm a lot more confident now, but but it still doesn't mean that there's roadblocks all along the way.
Yes. I want to ask Sandy, like, your story has been really inspiring, and for a lot of us, like, when we come to that end point, and we don't, it's very hard to see over that boundary. Like, but once you actually don't give up, and you're very determined to get through that and see, okay, let me try again and see if I can get past that. That mindset is very inspiring, and it's hard to build and get there, but once you're there, and once you're cultivating on that, that's definitely a lot of benefits and a lot of prosperous future, in other words, that you're looking forward for, right?
100%.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, so for the listeners today, like, if there's one thing that you can suggest to them to build and cultivating mindset to be who they are, what would that be?
I think the biggest thing. There's a lot of habits you could work on building, but I think one of the most important things that anyone can do is to understand what their purpose is and their why in life, and what their reason is to even wake up in the morning.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, just don't spend the time to think about that, or they default to, which is fine. This might be the truth, but they default to it's for my kids, or it's for this, or it's for the easy stuff. Which is really just a cop-out. They're just going with what the world is telling them they should say, right? But deep down, sometimes there's other motivations. It doesn't, just because you have kids doesn't mean it has to be about your kids. Or just because you have a family of some sort, doesn't have to be about them. That might be what it is ultimately. But if you just spend some time thinking about that and really getting clear on what that is, everything else will open up, and the natural kind of enthusiasm and inspiration in yourself will come out because you're clear on why that is.
Why that is, yeah.
Then you can mix everything around that now. Now you know what rooms you need to be in because that's going to help you on your mission. And I had a problem with this for a long time. I was always thinking about, I don't have kids yet. So when I think about my mission or my why or whatever, I would always feel a little lost in that. But the thing is that it doesn't need to be your lifelong mission. Like, it's just what's your next one?
Yes.
And you can always change it.
Yeah.
But what's the purpose for my next, day or week or month or year? At least start with that, and then you can build upon it afterwards.
Yes.
But getting some clarity on that, I think, is just super important. And then you can start aligning, because the next step from there is getting in with the right people and the right people surrounding you. But you don't even know who those people are until you've clarified what you're going to be about, what you want to be known for, what your mission is going to be, what your purpose is.
That's true.
I think that's the most important thing that anyone could spend time on today, whether you're going in the business route or just your life. Like, what is the purpose?
What is the purpose? What is your one thing?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that with us, Sandy. So we are going to be joining again on January 28th on our episode 2, and we're going to continue to talk about the one thing. So stay tuned. We'll see you at the next episode.
Thank you for spending your time with us on the Stellar Talk Show. We hope you found value in today's episode and gained insights to help elevate your lifestyle. If you enjoyed the discussion, please like, subscribe, and share it with anyone who could benefit. It means the world to us. Until our next episode, stay inspired, and I'll see you soon on our next Stellar Talk Show.